Okay, hi there, folks. This rambling is going to be a little hard for some people to wrap their heads around, especially the traditional Christians who've grown up with the teachings that they have over the past 300 years that has been passed down, especially in North America. And it's especially going to be difficult for a lot of the people who lack imagination. And it's going to be even more difficult for people who have put God in a box that is contained within the realm of the universe that we know now, that is contained within the confines of what they deem as being science, as being the three and even four dimensions that we live in right now: height, width, depth, and movement. Those particular dimensions that we live in right now. Because a lot of Christians, they have even a hard time um, picturing the supernatural, and that's mainly because they stick with parts of the Bible that don't talk about the supernatural. And a lot of the Christians out there have a hard time even wrapping their heads around the supernatural aspects that are in the Bible. And they even avoid the supernatural aspects that are talked about in the Gospels, the supernatural things that Jesus himself has done, the miracles. They see miracles as just being just that, as just miracles. They don't put any sort of explanation to it, and they can't wrap their heads around how God himself can manipulate and control the quantum nature of matter by turning water into wine, by altering the chemical composition, the atomic structure of water, and changing that to the atomic structure of wine. They can't imagine doing that, let alone imagining how Jesus can control the quantum nature of water and turn it from a liquid into a solid so that he is able to step onto it, so that the lake itself can remain a liquid, but wherever he steps, it becomes a solid. They can't imagine themselves doing that, or they can't imagine Jesus himself doing that, let alone themselves when we get the powers and abilities that come from Jesus himself, as the Bible says, that we will be like him. So this little spiel is basically about the superhero aspect, or the supernatural aspect, or as I've deemed it, we will be moving beyond the supernatural aspect, because the angels and demons, they live in the supernatural realm of where we are in our earthly dimension. Right now, in our earthly dimension, we can only see the four basic dimensions that we have in the universe: height, width, depth, and movement within that, or energy within that. That's all we can see. We can't see the invisible realm. We can't see the other dimensions. We can't see the supernatural realm, unless every once in a while an angel will appear from the supernatural realm, or a demon will manifest themselves from the supernatural realm into ours. But basically, we still cannot see the other dimensions that are out there that surround us, the heavenly dimensions. Heaven itself is surrounding the earth itself. Earth is in the confines, or in the vast realm of heaven itself. Heaven is not up. Heaven is not above our heads. If that were the case, when a person dies in North America and a person dies in Australia, and they both go up, they'll be going in separate directions. So heaven is not up. Heaven is around us. So when a person dies, their soul leaves our dimensions, our four dimensions, and it enters into that tunnel, that realm of light. And I'll go into another video about that particular aspect too, because I've been doing some diagrams and trying to wrap my head around it. I've been praying about that too. Anyway, this particular video is all about the supernatural aspects that I believe will be a part of during the 1,000 years of peace. And again, we'll be going beyond the supernatural into the hypernatural. Right now, where on a level below the angels. Angels are more powerful than we are. But when we get our regenerated bodies, our raptured bodies, our resurrected bodies, we will be above the angels. So we will move above the supernatural realm into the hypernatural realm. So we will also be able to control the quantum nature of the laws of nature that God has created. We will be able to do the same things that Jesus did. We will be able to control matter. We will be able to walk on water. We will be able to defy all the laws of nature that we have now. We can defy the laws of gravity. We'll be able to defy the laws of aerodynamics, the laws of thermodynamics, and the laws of chronology, time travel. Basically, we'll be able to do that as well. So the visions and the sights that I've seen regarding our hypernatural state of being all stem from the verses in Acts 2:17, and that being that the spirit of prophecy is being poured out on all flesh. And with that in mind, what I'm going to say next is that I believe that people over the past 2,000 years have been seeing bits and pieces of the future. And they can only write it down and they can only interpret it based on the knowledge that they have. And so with that in mind, over the past 100 years, I believe that people have been writing about future events that they've seen in a prophetic state. That the people who make modern day movies and who make comic books and who write fantasy and adventure, they've been seeing images in their head about future events, future places, future times, future worlds, future beings, future creatures. But again, they can't see that as a prophetic state. They can't see that being in God's future, in the future of human beings. So they can only interpret those images with what they know. And so they write movies like Star Wars or Star Trek or Doctor Who or Dragon Fantasy Adventures or otherworldly galactic adventures. They can only interpret those images that they've seen, those prophetic visions, based on the knowledge that they have. And so they write those particular stories. But I believe that we will be seeing the kind of worlds that George Lucas had created in Star Wars. I believe that we human beings will be able to, or will be creating a Starfleet as in Star Trek. And I believe we human beings will have the same powers as a Time Lord like in Doctor Who. So let's just get started on this little spiel.